Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of A&E's PD Cam. I'll be your host, Donut Mercury. I'm trying to cut down on my fucking potty mouth a little bit because I want as many people as possible to see these videos, and I don't want John to come across one of my videos or accidentally hear me one day saying something and then, him go to school and be like, so every time I use a curse word, I'm going to donate $1 to a charity of Sean King's choosing. I'm going to try to take a page from Chris Raygun's book also and try to make a video that's acceptable for YouTube's expert reviewers.
A Mississippi marching band staged a halftime skit depicting students pointing no-no sticks at the fuzz.
Please go watch his new video, by the way. I'll put a link in the comments and in the description below. He's made one of the best videos I think I've ever seen that has to do with the censorship on YouTube of anything above PG content. First story that we're going to talk about comes out of Asheville, North Carolina, and it involves these three fine-looking, upstanding citizens illegally disassembling a cat. The ironic part about this story being released the day after I got back from Asheville is that they were in my video that I made, the last video on this channel. The guy on the left with the stupid face is the one that made the rude gesture towards me, and the guy on the right with the stupid face is on the ground asleep behind him. The dude on the left and the girl, I think that's a girl in the middle, have been taken into custody, and then the guy on the right, they're still looking for him and his stupid face. Infamous bad man leader James Whitey Bulger, who the movie Black Mass and The Departed were made after, got yesterday, hours after arriving to the United States Naughty House in Hazleton, West Virginia. Whitey Bulger led the Winter Hill group of friends for a number of years with near impunity because of his status as an FBI informant before he was tipped off by that rogue FBI informant and fled to Santa Monica for 16 years. He was just chilling on the beach, going out to public restaurants with his girlfriend, eating food, and the FBI couldn't find him for 16 years. For 12 years, he was number 2 on the FBI's most wanted list, right behind Robert J. O'Neill's prize trophy. In 2011, at 81 years of age, he was arrested and convicted of running a forbidden business, 19 counts of pressing other people's off buttons, planning on pushing more people's off buttons, plotting to take other people's currency through force, exchanging fun powder, planning to wash dollars, and obtaining money in a rather negative manner. Like I said though, he got to his new adult daycare center and his friends hugged him so hard he became room temperature. Okay, I feel like I'm using Chris's bit too much. I just had to try it. It looks super fun. I love you, Chris. Next up, we have a pretty shocking story out of Germany where an ex-nurse admitted to killing at least 100 people. That makes him one of the world's most prolific serial killers, coming in at 3rd place right behind a guy who killed 110 people and for some reason only spent 18 years in jail. The nurse, Nils Hogel, administered fatal doses of medication to patients, causing cardiac arrest, and he said the reason he did this is because he wanted to impress his colleagues by reviving the people once he had killed them, basically. I mean, his plan wasn't successful at least 100 times. The remains of 130 people who were under his care while he worked at 2 hospitals for a number of years have been exhumed and are going to be tested for whatever he was shooting into the other people to kill them. Authorities are stating that he could have killed many more people, but a lot of the people have been cremated, so they can't test him. Needless to say, even over in Europe, they're going to give him a life sentence. He's going to be in prison forever. Speaking of decaying human flesh, 2 people walked into an Oakland police department with what police thought was a Halloween prank. The 2 Oakland residents found something in their backyard behind their apartment complex, and they just had to take it to the authorities. And it was a decaying human head. I can't believe they touched it. That's really gross. Look, everyone, if you find what looks like a human head and you really want the police to see it, there are these things called crimes, and crimes happen on crime scenes, and if you disturb that crime scene, there's the possibility that crime's not going to be solved. Leave the human head there and call the police. They'll come to you. They're pretty good at that. Authorities believe that it belongs to a body that was found a month earlier. They say that they don't think any foul play was involved with a head without a body laying in grass behind an apartment building, that the dude probably died and then his head fell off and then a dog or a big raccoon just carried it a few blocks away. Video was just released by the Cincinnati Police Department that just may win the award for Body Camera Pucker Factor of the Year. Officer Marcus Jackson was directing traffic where an accident had happened that he had been on the scene for earlier when another city employee pulled up to talk to him a little bit. They were shooting the shit when the female's car... Oh, that's so much money. Just shunking. The employee was in front of Officer Jackson. He was talking to her when suddenly her car just disappeared.
You know, traffic is very light and it's there.
The person that Officer Jackson was talking to, as well as the person who slammed into the back of her, were both taken to the hospital. Officer Jackson, he's okay. Next up, we have an exchange of boom booms on an interstate between 3 Arizona State troopers and a suspect in Phoenix. Police were called to the scene of a fight where a man had pulled a gun on somebody, and when they arrived on that scene, the dude fled off in a white pickup truck. They chased him for a little bit, and then a pretty decent pit maneuver was performed by one of the troopers. As soon as the truck spun around and the suspect inside of the truck was facing the DPS trooper that just slammed him into a wall, the suspect opened fire on the DPS troopers, as did the 3 DPS troopers. Well, it was 2 DPS troopers at first, and then another one rolled up in a soccer van and started shooting through his windshield also. So now you have 4 people shooting through their windshields at each other. This has got to be the first time I've ever heard of or even seen 4 people all shooting through their windshields at the same time during one incident. Drop the kids off at soccer practice at 7, then get into a vicious gunfight on the interstate at 8. In your grocery getter. You guys know how it is. It happens. Anywho, the suspect is not on this earthly plane anymore, and the 3 DPS troopers were being treated for cuts they received from broken glass. Your boy Florida Man is back at it again, trying to lay some pipe to build some bumps. Florida Mayor Man has been accused by an ethics committee of trying to exchange fun time for installing some speed bumps in a woman's neighborhood. Mrs. Claus must not be letting him go down the chimney. Trying to trade humps for bumps aside, I gotta give it to Florida Man. I'm proud of him for actually being elected to any kind of government office, given his extraordinary background we cover all the time on this channel. Before we get off, you remember the madness out of Portland where all the protesters are fighting people and screaming at old ladies and beating on cars and spitting in people's faces for being from North Carolina? The protests where people were marching down the street and blocking streets, and the whole block was blocked for like 2 weeks. People couldn't drive through that part of town, and the cops weren't doing anything, and the mayor wasn't doing anything. The whole Patrick Kimmons incident. You remember that? Well, footage was released of the incident showing Patrick Kimmons shooting at 2 men, fleeing from the scene before running smack dab into 2 police officers while he had a gun in his hand. I'm not going to show that right now, but I will be making a video on that entire incident very soon. Well, everyone, that's all I have for you today. Please come hang out on the stream at twitch.tv/DonutOperator. I'm going to be over there as soon as this video is released. Hopefully the Fallout 76 beta will be ready to play. As I said in my last video, I'm not going to be able to stream to YouTube for at least like 85 more days, something like that. So if you want to help support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/donutoperator, or get some super sweet merch at donutoperator.com. I hope everyone had a very, very safe and happy Halloween. Until tomorrow, I love you all. Have a fantastic day.